Have you ever found yourself really wrestling with that big question? How do we find the perfect learning environment for our kids? A place where their curiosity, isn't just tolerated, but really nurtured, where their potential isn't just seen, but like actively ignited. It feels huge, right?
Yeah.
And all the different educational philosophies out there, it can honestly feel like trying to navigate a maze. Well, today we're doing a deep dive into one really, really influential approach, Reggio Emilia. It came out of post-World War II Italy, this amazing philosophy. It's known for seeing kids as, and I love this quote, strong, capable, and resilient individuals rich with wonder and knowledge. And yeah, you probably hear Reggio Emilia and think preschool, right? Early childhood. But what's super interesting, and what we're exploring today, is its surprising influence on elementary schools, especially somewhere as dynamic as Austin. So our guide for this is a really comprehensive piece by Kelly Davis. She's an education strategist, 16 years teaching experience, called Top Reggio Emilia Inspired Private Elementary Schools in Austin. And we've also, pulled info straight from the school's own websites. Our mission here really is to cut through all the jargon. We want to help you understand how these powerful Reggio ideas are being used, sometimes even reimagined, in Austin schools. The goal is to give you the tools to spot these elements, whatever the school calls itself, and really get why they matter for a child's whole development. Okay, let's unpack this.
Exactly. It's about giving you a lens, really. A way to look at these different school environments and see those connections.
Okay, so let's start with the basics. What really is Reggio Emilia at its core? It seems to come from this really powerful belief, right, in the child's own curiosity, their potential. The learning journey isn't about just like pouring information into them. It's guided by their explorations, their discoveries, their collaborations. It's about empowering them, really, to build their own understanding.
What's fascinating here is, like you said, it's not some rigid curriculum you buy. It's a philosophy. It rests on these core principles. And understanding these is, well, it's essential if you want to see its influence, even when it's adapted. So the first one, maybe the most fundamental, is the child as protagonist. This just means kids are seen as active drivers of their own learning. They're capable, they're curious, they construct their own understanding. They're the main characters.
Okay, the main characters. I like that.
Yeah. Then number two is the environment as the third teacher. This is a cool concept. The idea is that the physical space, the classroom, the building, the outdoors, it's all intentionally designed to spark exploration, to encourage working together, to lead to discovery. It's not just a container for learning, it's an active participant. Think of it like a silent teacher.
A silent teacher. Interesting.
Third, and this one sounds almost poetic, is the 100 languages of children. This recognizes that kids express themselves in, 100 ways, not just talking or writing. Think about movement, drawing, painting, building, sculpture, music, dramatic play, even digital stuff now. These are all seen as valid, vital ways kids process ideas and show what they understand. All valid languages.
So it's way beyond just verbal skills.
Exactly. Fourth is documentation. This is key. It's about systematically watching and recording how kids learn, making their thinking visible, through photos, notes on conversations, samples of their work, reflections. And it's not just for grading. It helps the child understand their own process. It helps the teachers. It helps the parents. It creates this cycle of reflection.
Okay, making learning visible. Got it.
And finally, number 5, project-based learning. These aren't just quick activities. They're deep dives, extended investigations that really come from the kids' own questions and interests. They're not planned out rigidly in advance. They kind of grow organically. Kids work together, solve problems, really engage over time, sometimes weeks, even months. So those 5, child as protagonist, environment as third teacher, 100 languages, documentation, and projects. That's the heart of it.
That's a really clear breakdown. Thanks.
Uh-huh.
I have to say, the environment as the third teacher really sticks with me. How does the school actually design a space to be a teacher? Beyond just putting out some blocks, can you give us a more concrete picture of what we might see in Austin?
That's a great question, because it's definitely more than just making it look nice. It's about purpose. So you might see a space broken into smaller zones, like little studios or atelier, an area for art, maybe one for construction, one for light and shadow play, another focused on natural materials. Instead of rows of desks, maybe tables that can be easily moved around for group projects or quiet focus. The materials themselves are often chosen carefully. Lots of natural things, items that are beautiful, presented in an inviting way. It signals these are tools for deep thinking, not just toys for quick play. In Austin, you might see this as a dedicated maker space with recycled materials, or maybe even an entire outdoor classroom built around a garden used for science and art. The environment actively suggests possibilities.
Okay, that makes it much clearer. Purposeful design. So we know that a pure, like fully accredited Reggio model is mostly for preschools, but it's really cool how these elementary schools in Austin are taking these core ideas and adapting them, right, for older kids.
Absolutely. You're not going to find many elementary schools calling themselves 100% Reggio. It's usually more about inspiration, a philosophical alignment. So, yeah, we're going to see a whole spectrum. Some schools lean really heavily into several principles, maybe even push them in new directions. Others share similar values, but through their own, established ways of doing things like Montessori or IB. It's all about the interpretation.
Right, so let's start with what we're calling the modern and tech-driven interpretation. And the big example here is Alpha School. This one goes from pre-K all the way to 12th grade with a strong K-5 section. North Austin, tuition's up there, around $40,000 for K-5. But they have this incredible 5-to-1 student-teacher ratio. And Alpha is really known for its super innovative tech-heavy approach. Okay, so Alpha isn't walking the traditional Reggio path, but you can really see the child as protagonist shine through with their AI-powered learning. This isn't just like adaptive worksheets. The system actually listens to a student's questions, tracks their mastery in real time. It lets them genuinely guide their own academic path. It's like the child constructing their understanding, but with AI as a tool. And the 100 languages idea. It finds a unique voice in their afternoon passion studios. Kids get into coding, robotics, alongside maybe painting or music. Real diverse ways to express themselves. And the whole environment, this mix of personalized tech and physical spaces for collaboration, it becomes this kind of adaptive third teacher constantly adjusting.
Plus, their focus on mastery learning reinforces that Reggio idea of the child being capable.
But it's important to draw the distinctions, right? Alpha is definitely not traditional Reggio. You won't find the specific natural materials or the deep art-based documentation or long projects driven only by the child's spontaneous questions in quite the same way. And obviously, the heavy use of technology is a major difference from many Reggio settings that prefer low-tech natural exploration.
Good point. So what makes it stand out in this context?
Well, Alpha really highlights how technology can amplify that child as protagonist idea. It shifts things. Instead of just teacher-led differentiation, it's almost like the child is curating their own learning journey with AI support. It kind of forces us to ask, in today's world, does child agency sometimes look like adaptive AI alongside those natural materials, especially if you're focusing on future-ready skills? It's a fascinating modern twist on that core Reggio spirit of empowerment.
A very modern twist, yeah. Okay, so Alpha shows us Reggio through a tech lens. What about schools that blend its spirit with other well-respected progressive ideas? Let's move to our second category, established progressive roots. Here we're looking at blends with Montessori and the International Baccalaureate, or IB. First up is Headwater School. They go from early childhood right through 12th grade. K-5 is at their Creek campus in South Austin. Tuition, around $18,690 for K-5. Ratios are good. 6-to-1 early on, 8-to-1 in elementary. Headwater started with strong Montessori roots and now incorporates the IB program, which is known globally for inquiry-based learning, thinking critically, looking at the whole picture. So Headwaters does this really neat thing, combining Montessori's focus on self-direction with the IB's inquiry approach. That combo really hits on the child as protagonist and encouraging that child-led exploration, and the famous Montessori prepared environments. Those classrooms are set up specifically to let kids explore independently. That feels like a direct parallel to Reggio's third teacher, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It's a very intentional environment.
Right. And the IB side encourages looking at things from all angles, arts, science, movement. So that taps into the 100 languages idea, offering lots of ways to inquire and express understanding. They also really emphasize building a strong community, which is another big piece of the Reggio puzzle.
But again, important note. Headwaters works within its own well-defined frameworks, Montessori and IB. It's not claiming to be Reggio Emilia. Families should also know about the campus switch between early childhood and elementary. And yes, the tuition is moderately high.
Okay.
But what's really compelling about Headwaters is how smoothly they blend these two powerful philosophies. It creates this environment that champions inquiry, independence, and diverse ways of expressing yourself. It echoes those core Reggio values through its own unique, academically solid structure. It's got that holistic community feel that resonates.
It sounds like a powerful combination. Okay, staying in that same vein, established progressive roots but with a slightly different flavor, let's talk about Parkside Community Montessori School.
Yeah.
They serve ages 3 to 12, so covering that K-5 equivalent. Located on South Lamar. Tuition is around $14,600 for K-5, with an 8-to-1 elementary ratio. And Parkside really emphasizes its authentic Montessori approach. So, like Headwaters, Parkside's Montessori setup, the prepared environment, the child-led work, really empowers kids. They choose their activities, learn at their own pace. Child as protagonist is clearly central. But what makes Parkside really unique, and this is cool, is their on-site farm and gardens.
That's a big one.
Yeah. It's not just the place to run around. It functions as a literal nature as third teacher.
Yeah.
A living, changing environment for real hands-on science, observation, even creativity. And all that hands-on work, whether it's with the classic Montessori materials or digging in the garden, offers tons of diverse exploration, right? Using all the senses, different skills. Plus, their multi-age classrooms help build that community feel.
Right. Now, Parkside is committed to authentic Montessori, so again, it's interpreting Reggio-aligned principles through that specific methodology, not adopting Reggio itself. And one practical consideration might be the campus size. Being urban, while they use the space incredibly well, it might feel a bit more compact than schools with, say, sprawling fields.
I think so.
But where Parkside really shines is that combination. The authentic Montessori program, supercharged by that amazing farm and garden space, that creates such a distinct and effective third teacher. It fosters independence, hands-on learning, and this vital connection to the natural world, all things that align so well with the experiential environmental side of Reggio.
Okay, moving on. Our third category is schools with an artistic and nurturing focus with developmental respect. Let's look at Austin Waldorf School. This one goes from early childhood through 8th grade, located out in the Hill Country, southwest Austin. K-5 tuition is about $19,150, and the EC ratio is 10-to-1. Austin Waldorf seems to really embrace the 100 languages idea through its deep emphasis on creative play, handwork like knitting and woodwork music, and art. These aren't just extras, these seem central. Their classrooms are described as warm, beautiful, and home-like. That sounds like a very intentional, nurturing environment, really embodying the third teacher concept by fostering security and beauty. They also talk about a profound respect for the child's developmental stage and integrate a strong nature connection. Those values feel very much in sync with Reggio's humanistic core.
Yes, and a key philosophical point for families to understand with Waldorf is the approach to formal academics. They intentional delay reading, writing, arithmetic compared to many schools. It's not seen as falling behind. It's a core belief that building imagination, practical skills, and physical coordination first provides a stronger foundation for academics later.
Okay, so different timeline.
Exactly. There's also very minimal technology integration, which is obviously a contrast to, say, Alpha. And Waldorf pedagogy itself is quite unique. It has its own rhythms, its own philosophy. It can be a big adjustment if you're not familiar with it.
Got it. Unique philosophy, delayed formal academics, low tech.
Right. But despite those differences, or maybe because of them, Austin Waldorf stands out. There's this deep reverence for childhood itself. The arts and nature aren't add-ons, they're fundamental learning tools. And that nurturing, aesthetically considered environment. It all resonates very strongly with Reggio's core values about respecting the child and the learning space. It challenges conventional ideas about readiness.
That's a great point. Okay, category 4, broader progressive integrations. Let's start with Austin International School. They serve PK through 5th grade, located in Balcones, north central Austin. Tuition is around $17,050, 8-to-1 ratio. And their standout feature, a trilingual program, English, French, and Spanish. Wow, trilingual. That, combined with their project-based learning, must inherently offer tons of diverse expression, right? Those 100 languages, but literally through different languages in creative projects. Their diverse international community and interactive classrooms sound like they create a really stimulating third teacher environment with a global perspective built in. And they use inquiry-based learning, encouraging kids to ask questions, explore actively. That feels very empowering.
Now, Austin International isn't following a strict Reggio model. It shares that inquiry spirit, but you won't see the same emphasis on, say, long-term projects purely initiated by the kids in the same way Reggio envisions. Also, things to note, the program currently ends at grade 5, so families need a middle school plan. And the source mentioned limited on-campus athletics.
Okay, practical point.
But what really makes Austin International notable is that trilingual piece combined with inquiry. It provides such rich soil for kids to explore and express themselves across cultures and languages. It really expands the idea of the environment as teacher by leveraging that international community as a learning resource itself.
That's a unique strength. Also in this broader progressive category is Trinity Episcopal School. PK5, out in Westlake. Tuition's around $21,975, 8-to-1 ratio. Because the Trinity is structured more like a traditional independent school. But what seems to align with Reggio values is their strong focus on social emotional learning, SEL, developing empathy, self-awareness, making good choices, and they emphasize community building. This really speaks to the importance of relationships in learning, doesn't it? The community itself becomes like a supportive third teacher.
It really does. That relational aspect is key.
Right, and they offer strong programs in arts, music, sports, outdoor play, providing those diverse opportunities for expression, hitting that 100 languages note within their balanced framework.
Yeah, but it is important to remember Trinity isn't specifically Reggio-inspired. It follows a more traditional independent school path. Learning tends to be more structured, perhaps more teacher-guided than you'd find in a pure Reggio or Montessori setting. That's a core philosophical difference. And the tuition is at the higher end.
Structured approach, higher tuition. Okay.
However, Trinity's strength lies in how effectively it weaves strong SEL and community values into a solid academic program. That commitment to the whole child, their well-being, character, and diverse talents within that supportive community. It definitely resonates with key Reggio values, even if the structure looks different. It shows these principles can be integrated in various settings.
Interesting. Okay, one last category. Schools that are values-aligned but not Reggio-inspired. Here we have Austin Peace Academy. They go PK-12, strong K-5 element, North Austin. Tuition is notably accessible, around $9,500 to $10,500 for K-5, with a 10-to-1 ratio. So Austin Peace Academy isn't drawing from Reggio, but it's known for a really strong, welcoming, and supportive community, and a commitment to individualized attention. Plus, offering that K-12 continuity is a huge plus for many families, avoiding those middle school transitions.
Right, but crucial clarification, it's not Reggio-inspired. The source notes a more traditional classroom structure, and compared to some of the other schools we've discussed, it might have fewer specialized programs in areas like specific arts disciplines or advanced tech. Its core philosophy is different.
Understood. Not Reggio, more traditional structure.
Exactly. But Austin Peace Academy is still worth mentioning because its powerful focus on community highlights something important. That emphasis on relationships and individual support shows that essential elements of a good education, like feeling you belong, feeling seen, exist across different philosophies. It reminds us that a strong community is foundational, whatever the pedagogical label.
Wow, okay. That was quite a tour through Austin's private elementary landscape, using Reggio as our map.
Yeah.
So after looking at all these different interpretations, from tech-driven to Montessori blends to Waldorf, what does this all mean for you, the listener, trying to make this incredibly important choice? How can you actually use this Reggio lens?
Yeah, if we connect this to the bigger picture, it really comes down to looking past the marketing and understanding the actual experience your child will have. Based on Kelly Davis's guide and these Reggio principles, here are some key things families should actively look for and ask about. First, observe the environment. Really look, does the space feel welcoming, stimulating, flexible? Are there materials available that invite kids to explore in different ways, to express themselves beyond just words? Does it feel like a place that sparks curiosity?
Okay, observe the space. What's next?
Second, talk to the educators. This is huge. How do they talk about the children? Do they see them as genuinely capable, as active learners, or more like empty vessels to be filled? Ask how they support individual interests. How do they foster collaboration? Kids working together, kids working with adults, is that valued?
Right, how they view the child. Makes sense.
Third, review documentation. How does the school show student learning? Can you see examples of projects unfolding over time? Are there reflections, portfolios that show the process of thinking, not just the final test score or artwork? This tells you a lot about what they value.
Look for the process, not just the product.
Okay. Fourth, assess opportunities for expression. Think 100 languages. Beyond the core subjects, what's offered? Are the arts, music, technology, practical skills treated as robust learning areas? Does the school offer diverse ways for kids to show what they know and can do?
Check for those 100 languages.
And finally, gauge community involvement. How does the school partner with parents? How do they actively build that sense of community, that collaborative spirit where everyone feels part of the learning journey? Asking these kinds of questions, using these Reggio principles as your guide, can give you a much deeper understanding of any school, no matter what philosophy they officially claim.
That is such a practical, helpful checklist. It really empowers you to ask questions that get to the heart of the learning experience. So what does this all mean? Well, our deep dive today makes it pretty clear. Those core Reggio Emilia ideas, the capable child, the environment as teacher, 100 languages, they're alive and well in Austin. They're shaping innovative elementary education in really fascinating ways, even when schools don't use the Reggio label explicitly. We've seen them updated with tech, blended with Montessori and IB, woven into Waldorf's artistic focus, and influencing community-centered schools.
Exactly. And maybe the final thought is this: the search for the right school. It's not really about finding the perfect label or the exact tuition number. It's about finding an environment where your child is truly seen as capable, as curious, as resilient, where their natural wonder and all the unique ways they express it are genuinely celebrated every single day. Perhaps the ultimate question for any family looking at any school is simply, what does an environment that truly empowers my child to build their own understanding of the world look like, regardless of the official philosophy?